because there's so much raw talent here. And a lot of times, all they need is gym membership,
Yep.
or all they need is a solid pair of gloves,
Yep.
or you know what I mean. Just a little bit of things sometimes makes and breaks folks. And then I came up from nothing. I was one of those ramen noodle kids that came up in a drug addict home and that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
I've been there. I've done that. I've seen it. Their attempts usually, and then from there I'm going to inflict damage.
Yep.
But when I transitioned into pro, my striking hadn't caught up yet. It was okay, but I was still making a lot of technical errors, and the guys in pro were good enough to start taking advantage of that. And so it caused fights to be closer than they should have been, and like Daniel Carey's fight, he clipped me in the head. I mean, it was a glancing blow. Like, you can watch it, literally kind of glanced off the top of my head, and it was just buckle my legs. And the main reason was I dropped my hands because he'd been throwing leg kicks. And so little things like that, it's a huge transition step. And there's some guys right now that have jumped into the pro ranks in this area that I'm like, gosh dang it, I wish you hadn't done that yet. But I mean, we're going to see. We're going to see how they play out. I know that the local fight game's needing some big names, so I get it. But yeah, brother, I can attest to that for sure.
And what people don't get is Oklahoma's really coming up in the fight game. I mean, they got your boy for MMA with Matt Dixon. That dude's unreal in there, dude. I've watched 3 of his fights. I've covered last 3 of his fights, and that dude's sick in there, dude. Like, it was funny. I was his last fight, the last one I seen him in. He KO'd the dude, and it was funny. Like, I didn't really know him. I watched his last 2 before that, and I was like, this dude's pretty good. I was like, this I like this cat. But the funny part was I was watching him, and I'm standing there around some fans. I'm in there covering this fight, but I'm sitting up there with the fans, and I stand up because I seen the dude wobble, and his body said something different. Like, you know what I mean? There's I'm hurt, and then there's I'm really hurt. There's that, okay, I'm gonna shake this off. And then there's that twitches. You'll see spasms throughout muscles or something that shouldn't shake. You know what I mean? And unless you're in there, yeah. And unless you're in there, they don't see that. The average fan don't see that. And I stood up and I said, because this dude was supposed to be tough. Like, he looked tough. He came out tough. He came out to fight. And I guess I was around his people. And I said, finish him. I said, he's ready to go. He's ready to go. And someone goes, oh, don't you sleep on so-and-so. Right when he says that, boom, dude just buckled. I was like, duh, I told you. I was like, you see it.
People don't understand, man. Like, he'll probably get mad at me, but I mean, we brought Alan Green in. Everybody in the boxing world knows who Alan Green is. And Matt will hold his hands. He can handle Alan Green right now. Stay just boxing, and give him all he wants and then some. And so then on top of that, man, I brought guys in that are collegiate All-Americans. They can't take Matt down in wrestling, and Matt's never wrestled. The crazy thing that people don't understand is he's built. I mean, he's a stud. He's rock solid. I spar with Matt 3 times a week. He's tough, but his reach. He has the same wingspan. We have a teammate that's 6'4", and they have the same wingspan. And so he's so muscled up, a lot of people don't realize he can touch you from a long ways away.
Yep.
And he's fast, and he's very technical. He trains harder than just about, he's the only person I'll say that trains probably as hard as I do, if not a little bit harder. And I have to, because I don't have his God-given abilities.
Yeah.
But he's actually fighting next month, co-main event at LFA, the Bomb Factory in Dallas against Justin Patterson. I think he's going to shut Justin down, and hopefully he's going to get signed after that. I mean, he's a big name. I think he's the best. Well, he's the number 1 ranked welterweight in the Midwest United States. I think he's easily there.
Yeah.
He's gonna make some noise. But you hit on something that I take pretty personal. You know, you talked about Oklahoma MMA.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I've tried to do, and there's a lot of, I've sponsored fighters from just about every gym in Tulsa, I think,
Mm-hmm.
at one point or another, because there's so much raw talent here. And a lot of times, all they need is gym membership,
Yep.
or all they need is a solid pair of gloves.
Yep.
Or, you know what I mean? Just a little bit of things sometimes makes and breaks folks. I mean, I came up from nothing. I was one of those ramen noodle kids that came up in a drug addict home and that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
I've been there. I've done that. I've seen it. And so what I've done, like for this fight camp, kind of like we were talking earlier, and I go to Edmond, American Elite has opened their doors, let me come spar down there on Sundays. Thunder Kicks let me spar here. I've sparred over here at Forza Combat Fitness. I've gone to Triton and done some rolls and jiu-jitsu and whatnot, and just to get a grasp of everything that's available. And don't get me wrong, I feel like everyone, like my gym's WCF, Craig Blackstock's my coach. He's like a big brother to me. I've been with that dude for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
That's my home. That's my base.
Yep.
But I love the ability to go out and talk to everybody, see what. And in wrestling, when I was in college and where else, we used to say, you know, take what they show you, make it your own.
Yep.
And so I love getting everyone else's opinions and viewpoints and stuff, and saying, okay, cool, how can I implement that into what I already do?
Absolutely.
So doing that, and then trying to sponsor some of these cats has been a cool thing. Hell, Jimmy Flick's fighting on the fight card. He's the main event for that FCF fight. I'm sponsoring him. I've always sponsored Matt. You know, just some of these other guys. But yeah, man, Oklahoma's booming.
Absolutely.
You know, I think we got some little things to fix. You were talking about nutrition and some of the stuff that's going on with some of the coaching.
But you know, that's
all started.
But you know, that's why they got guys like you. You know, that are going to be hopefully pioneers for this nutrition side, to be how to do it right, and you know, drop that kind of knowledge. And that's the beauty part of you going to these guys' backyard to go train. Because you have a home base, and you have a really good home base with Craig, and you know, I mean, Craig's phenomenal coach. I don't know him, but I've known of him for years, and I've never heard a bad thing about his training. You know what I mean? And the few people that cried about his training because it was too hard, probably. You know what I mean? And
he and I love life, man. He can be an ass, and he'll tell you straight up. He said, "I'm not here to be your best friend." And he's never been a people person.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But you can't be.
When it comes to, like I say, kind of that nerdy fight stuff, he breaks stuff down. And man, him and I have had some. I mean, we've had some big brother fights, man. We've had some just knockdown, drag out fights where we just didn't even talk for a few weeks. But he knows, and I know that I'm not going to ever fight for it. I can't. I talked to my wife. I was like, well, I might well retire then, you know, because I just don't feel like I can fight for anybody else.
Absolutely.
Because the mindset in the stuff he teaches works. I mean, it really does.
And you know what I like about what you said about take what they showed you and make it your own, is you going out to those other people's backyard. It's different than when you bring them into your yard. You know what I mean? Like they may leave something at home. They may leave a couple of pieces of what they want to do at home when they come to your backyard. But if you go to their backyard, you guarantee you getting everything they got in the kitchen sink. You know what I mean?
You're not wrong. My first time going over to Edmond Elite, I mean, and shout out to Derek Atkins, man. He's over there creating, and his hashtag's right. It's building empire. And he really is. I mean, they've got a phenomenal Sunday deal over there. They get anywhere from 25 to 40 pro fighters. They've got UFC, Bellator, LFA. I mean, they've got everybody over there. And they get scraps in, you know, and he's done a good job because they've got the mat space where everybody's sparring, and then he sets up cage rounds. So he's got a full-size cage set up. He'll pick names of guys that are in there that are about the same size, have fights coming up, and you go out and get a cage round in it. It's like a fight.